Who's he?
Last year, during a round of crucial Brexit votes, I collapsed in the opposition whip's office and was taken to A&E over the road. I ended up staying in St Thomas's for almost a week, hooked up to an IV and pumped full of antibiotics and painkillers before I was eventually diagnosed with a cyst on one of my ovaries having ruptured and caused an infection. Last week, during a similar round of crucial Brexit votes, feeling very much like Groundhog Day, I was back in A&E again with the same problem and excruciating pain. I've not told many people about these instances, but I wanted to speak in today's debate because I've realised that my experience of women's health is unfortunately far too common. Last week, I was sent away with painkillers and told that cysts rupture in women all the time. And it very much seems that that has been allowed to happen and is allowed to go without treatment and without any knowledge of the cause because it only happens to women. In Emma Barnett's brilliant book, Period, she makes the point that part of the reason for our failure on women's health is because we simply don't talk about it. We don't talk about our periods because they're seen as shameful, unhygienic, unclean, that they should be kept secret and private, tropes that have been used to subjugate and silence women for centuries. Barnett is absolutely right. Societal norms that don't allow discussions of periods and their wider consequences for women's health mean that women will not seek treatment for their pain, as I didn't do for too long, or when they do, they are shrugged off, as I was last week. On leaving the hospital last week, I cried all the way home, in part because of the pain, but mostly because I was furious that I had been so instantly dismissed and that I had been told that I would simply have to live with a syndrome which would cause so much pain and risk on a monthly basis. I knew that countless other women would have been dismissed just as I was and gone home feeling exactly the same, because it's really hard to advocate for yourself when you're in pain and feeling ill. I realised that we have to start normalising discussion around something as totally normal as periods. The lack of education, awareness and medical research we currently have dismisses women and our health problems. It tells us that our pain is less important and that our fertility is irrelevant. So I'd really like to welcome today's debate and thank so many people for being here, commend the honourable member for raising it and say how grateful I am to women like Emma Barnett who use her platform to highlight the consequences for women of failing to address their health and for risking all the opprobrium they receive for speaking out. And I hope that together we can seriously move this agenda forward and demonstrate to millions of women that their voices are heard and that we no longer will allow them to suffer in silence.